bit about, I do want to talk about being all that we are, and about the new ways of knowing that are offered in A Course of Love. Because some of them we're familiar with, and some of them we're not. But I think the ones we're familiar with, we sometimes don't recognize as being ways that are of unity. So there's a quote that can kind of give you a little bit of a focus for why I'm talking about being all that we are. And this is it. You are now called to discover and to become aware of all that you are. The body, rather than aiding you in learning as it once did, will aid you now in this discovery. Realize that this is a call to love all of yourself. You who once could love spirit or mind or body, now can love all of yourself, all of God, all of creation. You can respond to love with love. And that quote wasn't actually my inspiration, though. As beautiful as it is, my inspiration came from a journal entry that I found 3 times the journal entry was written in between when the Course of Love was done and when the treatises began. So after that period of keeping me waiting, getting me to let go of my thinking mind even more, I finished the course. And the funny thing about it was 1 year to the next, December 1st, 98 to December 1st, 99. And then on New Year's Eve morning, I awoke with a thought in my mind that I've come to call these thoughts promptings. And the prompt was, quit hanging on to a piece of yourself. Quit hanging on to a piece of yourself. So I woke up from that feeling like it was really important to investigate it. And I was still turning to A Course in Miracles at that time when I had something that I needed a little help with. So I, okay, what's this come to say to me? So I found in A Course in Miracles some quotes, and I typed them up in this journal entry. And I even drew on it. You know, it's like the whole, I was going to bring the original, then I thought, I'm going to leave that at home. It was all yellow with age. It was so long ago. So, the first quote from A Course in Miracles that I wrote down was, only what you have not given in any situation can be lacking. And I italicized the you. And then, the next one was,
can you say it again?
There is no cause for faithfulness, but there is cause for faith. That cause has entered any situation that shares its purpose. You can leave nothing of yourself outside it and keep the situation holy. The words I emphasized, I typed in caps. And I wrote my response, saying in part, this is why my faithfulness at this time is so essential. What I have not given is what is lacking. So I put that in my drawer because I thought this was really important for me to remember. Put it in my desk drawer. And it wasn't till 6 years later that I got rid of that huge monstrosity of the desk and found it again. And even though that might have reminded me a few times at the beginning of the 2000s, I kind of forgot it when I pulled it out in 2006. And when I read it again, it was like, yeah, I still need to remember this. And so I set it aside again. And then as I was invited, right after I was invited here last summer, I found it one more time, accidentally on purpose, and I knew that was to be my focus. And you can maybe see where I'm going with that, that if we're leaving a part of ourselves out, we're not being all that we are. And one of the reasons I bring this up is because I want to kind of take you to the frame of mind I was in when I began A Course of Love. And I'd spent, my life as a Catholic, and I retained that sort of innocent faith that I'd had as a child. I wasn't one of those Catholics who had a hard time with it. I thought it was all sort of magical. I even was a child during the Latin Mass, and I thought that was so beautiful. They would do the incense, so it was all just this big mystery, and I loved it. And I loved Jesus. And so Jesus was Lord in my heart, and He was my best friend. And so when I was a single parent, I would stay up after my kids were in bed, and I would write in my journal, and a lot of that would be prayers. And I would feel so much better after I had put my feelings into these prayers, because I felt like Jesus heard me. And when I would enter a difficult situation, I would say, "Dear Jesus, please be with me." But when A Course of Love began to come, I thought the only voice that mattered was Jesus's. That's what I was there for, to hear what Jesus wanted me to hear and nothing else. I did not want my worries, my concerns, my lowly self to touch the grand work of Jesus. And yet, every day, He would be addressing those things. All the things that were going through my mind, all the worries, all the fears, they were what He was talking about. And every day He was telling me, quit feeling lowly. You are one with me. We are one heart, one mind. And later He would tell me, I don't need your fingers. I don't need your typing skills. I need all of you. And that was so hard to accept. The power of it all. And when I would try to accept it, I would find myself heading for my Christ self and rejecting my human self. I would find myself trying to meet an ideal. It was like I couldn't help it. And I said, well, this isn't it. And then I'd go the other way, to just be me. And I'd do that for a while, and that didn't seem to be it either. I felt like Jesus was saying, by saying over and over, be who you are, I felt like He was saying, keep yourself and change. Keep yourself and change everything at the same time. Not a thing here and a thing there, but everything. And at the same time, stay who you are. That's crazy making stuff. It is. And I see now, it's no wonder we want to slough off the old self. Just slough it off and be done with it, because it would be so much easier. It would be so much easier to start anew rather than to find a way to accept all of who we are, the selves that we were created to be. But having experienced that back and forth of one self or another self, I took a look at some of the big questions. And the biggest question is who we are. We want to know who we are. Early in this course, Jesus talks about the cheetah, the sun, the moon, or God, attempting to learn what they are. We can't imagine them doing that, can we? But we think we can learn who we are. We want to. We feel like we need to. This is an existential question, right? So we want to know who we are. Then we want to be who we are. We want to be who we are not only so that we can feel peaceful or happy, but because we have this innate sense that, like the cheetah, the sun, the moon, and God, we have a nature, an original nature that does not need to be thought about, taught to, or trained into being. We sense that there is a purpose for our being here, not a reason, but a purpose. We want to be who we are because we know somewhere deep down inside that we have a true self that not only holds the key to our joy and peace, but that we sense has something to do with the nature of existence itself. So we want to know who we are, we want to be who we are, and then we want to share who we are. It's a central desire to connect. We want to connect at one time with something greater than ourselves, at another time in a spiritual wave of knowing and being known, and in still another time in the very simple way of being, simple, not so simple way of being who we are, and being accepted for who we are in our family, in our schools and jobs and communities. Well, this is where we start with A Course of Love. Jesus says, I want you to know who you are. I think that's so beautiful. I want you to know who you are. While you continue to identify yourself incorrectly, you cannot know who you are, be who you are, or share who you are truly. In chapter 6, Jesus says, this is the purpose of the world and of love most kind, to end your self-deception and return you to the light. Our self-deception.